Cricketer's Arms in Port Melbourne is a classic inner suburban pub, and since late 2010, former Swans and Carlton rover Bernie Evans has been among its owners.
I lived and grew up in South Melbourne, a few blocks from the hotel here. I still live in Middle Park, which is a suburb of South Melbourne. Have all my life, all my friends and family around this area. We used to be drinkers in the hotel here, and opportunity arose that the last publican got out and put a consortium together of 3 people, and we put our case together and we end up getting it. Used to just drink in pubs and thought I knew everything about it, but it's a fair dinkum eye-opener when you do get into a hotel.
Of course, beer was a key part of the average footballer's diet when Evans made his VFL debut for South Melbourne in 1978.
In those days, you could afford to go out on a Monday night and have a drink and assess the game through just your teammates and things like that. And always the beer was a common denominator. Most people drank.
When the Swans moved to Sydney in '82, Evans packed his bags and headed north.
At the end of the day, when the people voted to go to Sydney, you know, I'm happy with whatever decision they made. But personally, for me, I would have rather stayed in South Melbourne and redeveloped South Melbourne ground. I think it would have been, before its time, it would have been like Etihad Stadium now. Some people had the foresight, but the powers to be didn't allow it. I went initially to Sydney when we first moved up there for the first year, and then at the end of that year, I came back because my wife was pregnant with our oldest child, Holly. So Quady was coach at the time. He didn't mind me coming back to have some senior experience back in Melbourne, guiding the reserves that were left in Melbourne. And yeah, I used to fly up Friday afternoons and train with them Friday night and play the game on Sunday afternoons, and most of the times we'd come back Sunday night.
Remarkably, Evans took out the Swans' best and fairest in 1984 while living back in Melbourne.
White is there for the Swans. Out it goes to Evans. He's covering plenty of territory, isn't he? Gets his shot in. Was trying to attempt by Booth to smother it. He's put it through for a goal.
And then Tom Hafey took over in Sydney. Wanted everyone to live back in Sydney, which I couldn't do at the time because I just got a job on the waterfront down here.
In late '85, he moved to Carlton.
I just couldn't go back to Sydney, so I had the opportunity to go to Carlton through Reece, and I took that opportunity because they seemed to be a good club when I spoke to them, and they were a successful club, and that was probably lacking from my career at that time to have a bit of success, and that's why I went there.
He played in the '86 Grand Final against Hawthorn, but it was a disappointing day as the Blues lost by 7 goals. A year later came more heartbreak when he missed Carlton's premiership due to suspension.
Well, you can't change what's happened, but it was, you know, devastating at the time. It probably, you know, had an effect on my life. Played 13 years of football to have that success. To be robbed of it for one game, I, you know, felt like it had been taken away from me. You know, nowadays with the point system and things like that, I might have been able to play.
Evans was shown the door by the Blues prior to the '89 season. After that, he focused on his day job, working as a wharfie. His career on the docks, including the waterfront dispute and numerous other ups and downs.
That was interesting when I first went down there. I used to love it. I used to love going to work every day. In the end, it becomes a bit tedious, but yeah, it was a good atmosphere. They were great guys. There was a lot of old, you know, type footballers, you know, from past eras, telling their stories. A lot of boxers. There was a lot of, you know, a lot of knockabouts.
Now 54, he still keeps in contact with many of his former footy teammates.
In any team sport, especially in successful eras, you're going to get that, and we do. I still catch up a lot with David Rees-Jones, Jimmy Buckley, Glenn Hawker. You know, they're all from different, you know, sides and things like that. But in those days, we used to meet other people from other sides, and we did get friendships together, and they're still ongoing.
But his heart remains with the Swans.
Fantastic. I was at the 2005 Grand Final. You know, the club have been so good to the old players, and they really deserve their success. How hard they worked, they got their just rewards in 2005. It was fantastic for the club and a real fillip for, you know, the club being in Sydney.
Since buying the pub, he's been known to welcome the odd special guest.
I walked in the pub one afternoon and I saw Jeff Rains. He was out the back with a few people, and one of those people was Tim Matheson. Anyway, he introduced me and had a bit of a chat, and he said, oh, the PM's going to come a bit later and pick us up. I said, oh, come on, mate, you're kidding. Anyway, you wouldn't believe, about half an hour later, I'm in the front bar looking out the window and they've blocked off the whole street. Next minute, Julia gets out the back of her car. So I went out, politely asked her could I take a photo of her in the hotel in the background, which she accommodated, and that was fantastic. Anyway, Tim come out, he must have said, oh, I've still got a pot out the back, so he ran back inside, finished his pot, like a good Aussie bloke would do.
But although he's rubbed shoulders with many famous people over the years, Evans remains the sort of bloke who's happiest having a quiet drink with the locals.
Can't beat a good Carlton draft, mate. And this is the coldest in Port Melbourne, this one here. Look at that for a head, mate. First beer I poured in 12 months. Perfect.